Tomb Raider is getting its own MCU. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Tomb Raider is getting her own MCU style video game, show, and movie, all produced by Amazon. This is, I have my doubts. Like, this is something that is not going to be good for the long run or for the franchise. From the Hollywood Reporter, Tomb Raider film in the works as Amazon makes rich rights deal for a Marvel-like franchise. The Marvel style stuff that's going on right now with the new Avengers and all this other stuff, it's dying out. Superhero movies are dying out. So of course they're repeating the cycle that happened last time when you went into the video games. Then Tomb Raider was created, it moved on, it started growing, it exponentially got huge. Then we moved into Uncharted, which now also at the same time, Neil Druckmann is saying Naughty Dog is done with making Uncharted. So this is very strange. They're done with Uncharted, and now suddenly Tomb Raider is back on the forefront. I prefer Tomb Raider. I thought Tomb Raider was an amazing game for its time. It was kind of a revolutionary game when it came to the PlayStation. Yeah, the graphics were absolutely crap, but it's morphed into this other version of it where Square Enix picked it up, made all these amazing looking games with some interesting mechanics. Amazon is building a Tomb Raider franchise. Sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that the retail giant and streamer has teamed with Dimitri M. Johnson of DJ2 Entertainment for the massive rights deal to make a Tomb Raider feature film, in addition to a newly announced TV series from Phoebe Waller-Bridge and at least one video game of Lara Croft franchise. The idea is built out of the connection of the Tomb Raider with the video game, TV series, and film, all interconnected in fashion akin to what Marvel has already accomplished. The Tomb Raider video game was announced in December, with additional games in the franchise considered likely. So this is coming on the heels of what looks like might be something to compete with The Last of Us. That is something that it blown up. The Last of Us, the video game, came out. Then Last of Us 2 came out, completely ruined the video game franchise. But now the HBO actually came here to my home city and filmed majority of The Last of Us here in Edmonton, Alberta, and is moving forward. And that might be why something like this is coming forward, where they're looking back at past titles to bring them forward. And Tomb Raider is one of those titles that is kind of primed for that. Now, they did the movies with Angelina Jolie. I'm a big fan of Angelina Jolie. I think she's done a lot of amazing movies, and one of her first ones being Hackers.
What's your name?
Kate. Kate Libby.
You mean I'm not in your class?
No, you're not in my class. Yeah, there's an Olympic-sized swimming pool up on the roof.
Thanks. Hey, hold the door. No pool.
I thought she went on for quite a good career in the film industry. Now, this one has me a little bit more worried because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the creator of Fleabag. I didn't even know this thing existed. It looks like a British style Amazon show. You know, Amazon trying to be comedians in this, and I saw the trailer for this and I was scratching my head because it's like a woman that goes around, sleeps with a bunch of people, and then finds faith, and the comedy dealings of that comes out of it. A comedy series adapted from award-winning play about a young woman trying to cope with life in London, Willis coming to terms with a recent tragedy. She's got some success on Amazon. I've never knew this existed. I don't have Amazon Prime.
Yes, but it's okay because it had a stroke. Lovely.
It's got a leather purse because it had a stroke.
Do you want to have sex?
No, and you need to be friends because your dad.
And then she does this fourth wall break in it a lot, like trying to be more Deadpool than Woman in London sort of scenario. So that's going to be an interesting twist. Positives here is they're looking at a British style show, which is where Tomb Raider or Lara Croft would be based from, in Britain. She would be a giant mansion, trying to bring in a comedy aspect. So there's a little bit of hope there, but because it's Amazon and we know what's been going on, especially with the Rings of Power, which was honestly that show should be back into the mountain and just buried underneath molten lava and turned into an iron brick, because that's all that thing is a paperweight of a show. It got drugged down so much. It was one of the most expensive shows, that a lot of places outdid the numbers side of things for Lord of the Rings. It's so bad. I can't even fathom watching that show. And I'm glad I didn't, because it's not something that appealed to me at all. I was like, no, I'll stick with my original Lord of the Rings. I don't need another prequel, because the prequel was The Hobbit. I don't need something before The Hobbit. Now, with Tomb Raider, this is one of those things. They've made the movies, they've made the games, they've redone the games, they've completely milked it for all that it is. Is a new franchise for this video game one of the things that should be going on out there right now? I'm not entirely sure. If they keep it on a lower budget, where they're not running into so many pitfalls of just wasting money and trying to fill the gaps by just getting grants from governments, because there's a lot of stunning shots that you need to do for this show. You're going to end up traveling around the world, and a lot of places will give you grant money for this type of thing. So is this just a money grab for grants from governments, or are they going to actually rein in the spending, make a good show with try and produce the best thing that they possibly can without going overboard? Now, making this a scenario where it's a movie, TV show, and a video game all at once, tying it all together, that only works if you have a merch line that's going to buy up at the same time. I look at Five Nights at Freddy's. One of the things with Five Nights at Freddy's, yes, Security Breach wasn't one of the greatest games that came out there. It's a buggy nightmare of a mess, but they have a merch line, they have a toy line, and they have everything else for the show that does very well. So the game didn't do very well in that sense, but it propped up the entire brand. And that, because it props up that brand, it continues to move forward. Tomb Raider, though, are you going to market toys off Tomb Raider? But this is it's going to be a more nuanced adult style comedy with a British take, from everything I'm seeing from this Fleabag. It's a comedy that's a drama that's focused around sex and everything else. Sex and church, and it's one of these things where it wouldn't be kids watching it, it would be adults watching it. So now you're not making this show for kids to sell toys. You're not selling anything else other than the movie, and trying to spin together an MCU. The MCU works because you have superheroes. Superheroes sell toys. So they create their own franchise, and they've got everything going for them. Tomb Raider, not so much. I hate to say it, but I don't have a lot of faith for this, and I don't think Amazon's going to do it right. They're probably going to inject something randomly in here. Tomb Raider is supposed to be the Indiana Jones of today, and it doesn't really sit like that. Uncharted came forward, and the Uncharted movie that they did with Tom Holland, I thought was really good and really well done. The cinematography was amazing in that show. The ship fight that they had in that show was absolutely insane, and I just don't see Tomb Raider living up to that standard. I don't see it living up to that place, especially when you're going with someone that really a lot of people aren't going to know, the writer or the director or the star of Fleabag. I just don't see it working out very well. Anyway, guys, I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix signing off here. If you like this one, let me know down below. What are your thoughts? Do you think Tomb Raider can stand on its own at this point, or does it need something more? Does it need Nathan Drake to team up with Lara Croft? Now that is something for another time. Have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.